Creator, Juvenestum somos, Laureamos Igitur, Juvenestum somos, post jucundam juventutem, post funestam senectutem, nos habebit humus, nos habebit humus. Vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat Ventrum Quapidet, vivat Ventrum Qualidet, semper sint in flamore, semper sint in flamore. Priamut carne mirabon, suavis anne tualutam. Priamut carne mirabon, suavis anne tualutam. Jälkeen nuoruutemme varma, jälkeen vanhuus ajan harma, meidät perii multa, meidät perii multa. Missä ovat entiset vanhat ystävämme? Missä ovat entiset vanhat ystävämme? Ehkäpästi maailmoissa, tummatuolen kartanoissa, turvaan kesälöydynne, turvaan kesälöydynne. Lyhyt elämämme on loppunakin päästy. Lyhyt elämämme on loppunakin päästy. Ilmeisesti puolapuuket meidän ryntäillänsä solke, eikä kukaan säästi, eikä kukaan säästi. Eläkeeni luokistuu, opinahtia jonkin. Eläkeeni luokistuu, opinahtia jonkin. Eläkeksen veteranit, yksin siinissä peronit, kukaista kova harkki, kukaista kova harkki. Eläköön myös neitoset, keijut kaunokaiset. Eläköön myös neitoset, keijut kaunokaiset. Emännätkin palvoivat, ahkerasti paskaroivat, näistä toimi paavoiset, näistä toimi paavoiset.
Welcome, tervetuloa, välkomna, hoila, Altonians from far and wide. For those of you who are joining us today online, we are here in U2 Hall at our campus in Otaniemi in the Undergraduate Center, and we wish you a very warm welcome to Aalto Day 1, the very first, at least officially, day of a new academic year. My name is Daniel Schichel. I'm a first year, the next minute second year MA student in contemporary design at the School of Arts, Design and Architecture, together here with my lovely colleague.
Welcome also from my behalf. My name is Antonia Enech, and I'm a master's student in Industrial Engineering and Management at the School of Science. Välkomna att starta det nya läsåret tillsammans.
We started today with the very famous composition Gaudiamus Igitur, the traditional student melody, and this time performed in a new iteration of an ever-evolving cycle of a new line by Heikki Vastiala, also known under his name of Vocology, who will guide us throughout this event today. He's also a first-year MA student in sound in new media in my very own home turf, the School of Arts, Design and Architecture. So, kiitos paljon, Heikki. So taking the song, I think so taking the song by its meaning, let us rejoice.
But Daniel, can you believe it? Aalto is celebrating its 15th anniversary. 15 academic years together as Aalto University.
Well, Antonia, I think it's safe to say Aalto is now in the middle of the teenage years. Like, bright future ahead, some issues here and there. But actually, Antonia, do you remember where you were when you were 15 years old?
Back then, I think I was just about to start high school in Tampere, a few hours from here. I was completely absorbed in my basketball hobby. I probably had never heard about Aalto University back then. What about you? Did you know about Aalto when you were a 15-year-old teenager?
Well, the only Aalto I knew was a vase with a squiggly shape, to be honest. But I finished my first year in business high school. So the plan was at that point actually to be in a bank or in the ministry. But life is full of surprises. So now I'm going to be a designer.
And today, we're not only celebrating the new academic year, but we're welcoming all the new first-year students. Our community has grown by over 2,000 new students, and most of you have already started your journey last week. That's over 2,000 new stories, over 2,000 unique paths. And I remember my first year sitting in the audience just like you. I didn't really know the people around me then. We were just getting to know each other. But those people are some of my closest friends today. So look around you. Those are not just your future colleagues, but friends for life. Congratulations and welcome.
In these times of closing ourselves off and building new walls, Aalto, as an international university, is actually going the opposite way and is celebrating its diversity and how every new generation brings in their own stories, their own experiences, and their own ideas. A change can be slow sometimes, but what's happened here can actually shape a whole society. So like Antonia said, look around you. Look into the faces and these all incredible stories that might be hidden, and look what you can learn from them and what we can learn from each other. And let's say, I think it's true, we have a wonderful crowd here today.
Tänään kuulemme, minne yliopistomme suuntaa alkavana lukuvuonna. Today, we'll hear from the president of the university and the vice chair of our student union, AYY. Also, we'll meet Anita Lehikoinen, permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education and Culture.
But we are not only celebrating the new academic year, but we will honor a newly appointed Aalto Distinguished Professor. Well, one thing more. Some of you already noticed there's a new building on campus, Marcio. Later, we will walk over and welcome Marcio during the Aalto Awards ceremony. Marcio will not just be the new home for Elo School and the Aalto Studios, but also Aalto Takeout, which, coming from the School of Art, is very popular, and a new meeting place for all the students around campus. So, we are all very warmly welcomed to discover Marcio.
And now, I can't wait for us to start with the program. We have an exciting lineup ahead, filled with insights from fellow Aaltonians. We'll start with the opening words from Ilkka Niemelä, the president of Aalto University, who will talk about securing Finland's future. Ilkka, ole hyvä, lava on sinun.
Sometimes big things start small. As one Aaltonian puts it, the vision of who she would become came early on. I decided to become a professor when I was 6 years old, she says. I didn't know what type of a professor I would become, but I knew that it would have something to do with helping the world and helping people. Little did she know that she would live, teach, and do research in at least 4 different countries across 2 hemispheres. As president of Aalto University, I have the pleasure of meeting all kinds of talented people from different backgrounds and walks of life. What unites them is the drive to make the impossible possible, or at least closer to reality. That drive is something I know many of you in this room hold. Because at Aalto, we dare to dream and we dare to do. That determination can be seen in all the work you do, which I want to sincerely thank you for. It's what makes our community special. My friends, today is a momentous day. Today, we mark the first day of our 15th academic year. And for the 15th time, we have a new cohort of first-year students. It takes courage to start something new, but we are so happy to share this adventure with you. Haluan toivottaa tervetulleeksi myös Riemu-alumnit. Te aloititte opintonne 50 vuotta sitten. On suuri ilo, että pääsemme juhlimaan uuden lukuvuoden alkua yhdessä teidän kanssanne. Kun Aalto-yliopisto perustettiin, saimme kansallisen tehtävän uudistaa Suomen innovaatiokykyä ja tuottaa hyvinvointia sekä meille että maailmaan. Tälle työlle on nyt tarvetta enemmän kuin koskaan. Globaalit kestävyyshaasteet vaativat uusia, kekseliäitä ratkaisuja. Samtidigt har Finlands offentliga ekonomi hamnat i en svår situation. Hur kan vi skapa ny tillväxt för vårt land då befolkningen åldras och antalet icke-arbetande i förhållande till sysselsatta ökar? I Finland bygger tillväxten nästan enbart på förbättrad arbetsproduktivitet. I praktiken innebär det ny teknologi, nya idéer, innovationer och utbildning. Kasvun lähteet ovat siis tutkimus ja koulutus. Suomen nykyinen hallitus onkin päättänyt sitoutua merkittäviin tutkimus- ja kehitystoiminnan julkisiin lisäpanostuksiin. Tavoite on, että T&K-panostukset kokonaisuudessaan nousevat 4% bruttokansantuotteesta vuoteen 2030 mennessä. Tällaiset investoinnit ovat välttämättömiä kasvun aikaansaamiseksi ja tätä kautta julkisen talouden ongelmien korjaamiseksi. Panostusten lisääminen ei kuitenkaan riitä, jos osaajia puuttuu. Tutkimus- ja kehitysmenoista käytännössä yli puolet on henkilöstökuluja. Nykyisten koulutusmäärien lisäksi tarvitsemme arviolta 9 000 uutta henkilöä toteuttamaan kasvavaa tutkimus- ja kehitystyötä. Tästä lisäyksestä valtaosa on maistereita ja noin 2000 tohtoria. Aaltona me haluamme olla mukana ratkaisemassa tätä haastetta. Ensinnäkin yhä useammalla suomalaisella tulisi olla korkeakoulutus. Olemme jääneet verrokkimaistamme merkittävästi jälkeen. Vain noin 40% nuoristamme suorittaa korkeakoulututkinnon. Maan hallituksen tavoitteena on nostaa korkeakoulutusaste ensin 50% ja jopa sitä korkeammalle. Hieno tavoite sisältää yhden ongelman. Yliopistojen reaalinen perusrahoitus on kutistunut yli 1/5 vuodesta 2010. Emme ole pysyneet verrokkimaiden kehityksessä mukana. Tällä hetkellä esimerkiksi Ruotsin ja Tanskan yliopistoissa on opiskelijaa kohti jopa puolet enemmän rahoitusta kuin Suomessa. Korkeakouluttajien määrää ei siis voi nykytilanteessa nostaa, jos koulutuksen laadusta halutaan pitää kiinni. Jotta voimme vastata osaajapulaan, tarvitsemme pitkän aikavälin ohjelman, joka turvaa riittävän ja laadukkaan koulutuskapasiteetin. Suomen hallitus on ottanut jo tärkeän ensimmäisen askeleen panostamalla tohtorikoulutukseen, ja tavoitteena on kouluttaa 1000 uutta tohtoria seuraavan 3-4 vuoden aikana. Koulutuspaikat ovat herättäneet laajaa kiinnostusta sekä kotimaassa että kansainvälisesti. Meille Aaltoon myönnettyihin vajaaseen 200 tohtorikoulutuspaikkaan tuli yli 4000 hakemusta. Haluamme kytkeä uudet opiskelijat heti suomalaiseen työelämään yhteisten tutkimushankkeiden ja mentoroinnin kautta. Olemme parhaillaan neuvottelemassa yhteistyöstä jo 50 kiinnostuneen yrityskumppanin kanssa. Tämän kertaluonteisen panostuksen jatkoksi tarvitsemme pitkäjänteisen ohjelman koulutuskapasiteetin vahvistamiseksi, jos haluamme löytää kestävän ratkaisun osaajapulaan. At this critical moment for Finland, we need to ask, how can we build a culture that attracts and retains top talent from around the world? I want Aalto to be a place where we embrace curiosity, a community where we cherish new questions as much as answers, a culture where everyone feels welcome and engaged in discussion. Societal dialogue isn't always easy. We have seen harmful discourse on topics close to our heart, and last year on this day we took a firm stand for an international Finland. There are, however, many in broader society who still believe international students aren't here to stay. The numbers tell a different story, a story, or rather reality, that I've noticed surprises a lot of people. Half of Aalto's international graduates are employed in Finland 1 year after graduation. And if we look at the bigger picture, we see that 2/3 of our international graduates from the last 15 years still live in this country. My friends, this is a testament to Aalto's role in internationalizing Finland. We should be proud of our progress, but we still must increase the employment rate of our international talent. We need to admit that real contact with working life cannot be replaced. Finding a job in your field requires more than a diploma. Understanding how Finnish workplaces function, networks, and concrete experience all play a part. Case in point, tech students from outside the EU who have done their thesis in cooperation with a Finnish company are 4 times more likely to be employed in relevant positions after graduation. My friends, Finland's long-term success relies on research and innovation and integrating international talent. At Aalto, we have ways of helping students build connections to Finnish working life. But we can't do it alone. We need help from industry and other partners. Even a small step can lead to something big. So I have a message for employers. Come get to know the people behind the solutions for tomorrow. One great way to do so is by becoming a mentor. Since the Aalto International Talent Program launched 4 years ago, over 700 international master students and doctoral researchers and over 30 companies have participated. And you can be next. If you're looking for help on a specific research topic, take part in Aalto Thesis Day in October. By hiring an international student for thesis or development work, you can get the help you need while providing the experience students need to move their careers ahead in Finland. Whether it's mentorship or thesis work, or you want to offer a business case for a student project, offer a traineeship or summer job, just get in touch. We are here for you. Let's work together to make sure that all students build connections to Finnish working life. Fellow Aaltonians here today, it all starts with getting a foot in the door, and we can all help crack that door open. This afternoon, Aalto is launching the Hey Employer campaign on our university's social media accounts to bring more employers on board to connect with international students. Please do share our posts to spread the word. We need the best talent, after all, to ensure Finland's future and solve the challenges the world faces. My friends, the driving force behind Aalto has always been about people coming together. And the reason we come together is to make something bigger than what one voice can achieve. Because we know that what starts small can change the course of history. That 6-year-old, now associate professor, who I quoted at the beginning, is called Idil Kasilusoy. Her mission is to find how desirable futures can be achieved, even if they first seem to be possible. I will leave you now with her words. Idil says, "We need to collectively imagine desirable international futures for Aalto and for Finland. I don't have to be here. I choose to be here," she says. And I really hope that when I choose to be here, that this place chooses me as well. Not as a number, but as a human being.
Thank you, Ilkka. It's really true that real contacted working life cannot be replaced. So let's work for international Finland and connect each of us students with Finnish working life. Valtiovallan tervehdyksen tuo meille opetus- ja kulttuuriministeriön kansliapäällikkö Anita Lehikoinen. Hän vaikutti merkittävällä tavalla Aalto-yliopiston syntyyn ja valmisteluun vuosina 2005–2010. Welcome on stage, Anita.
Arvoisa rehtori, hyvä Aalto-yliopiston yhteisö, hyvät kuulijat, bästa Aaltos universitetsgemenskap, dear Aalto University Community. On suuri ilo ja kunnia tuoda tämä valtiovallan tervehdys tähän teidän tilaisuuteenne, jossa juhlistamme 15 lukuvuoden avajaista. Me voimme kaikki yhdessä todeta, että Aalto on täyttänyt ne tavoitteet, joita sille perustamisvaiheessa asetettiin. Tänä vuonna yliopistojen lukuvuosi käynnistyy kovasti kaksijakoisissa tunnelmissa. Hallitus käsittelee parhaillaan ensi vuoden budjettiesitystä ja voimme ilahtuneena todeta, että esitys on hyvin myönteinen yliopistoille ja laajemmin tutkimus- ja kehitystyötä tekeville tahoille. Toisaalta samaan aikaan on myönnettävä, että julkisen talouden heikko tilanne haastaa tulevina vuosina suomalaista yhteiskuntaa, sen rakenteita ja kansalaisten tarvitsemien palveluiden ja etuisuuksien rahoitusta hyvin vakavasti. Myös kansainvälinen tilanne on monessa suhteessa kärjistynyt ja Venäjän käynnistämä hyökkäyssota Ukrainassa sekä Lähi-idän synkkä tilanne varjostavat raskaasti Suomea ja koko kansainvälistä yhteisöä. Olemme saaneet huomata, että tieteestä, teknologiasta ja korkeasta osaamisesta on muodostunut suurvaltakilpailun taistelutanner. Samaan aikaan ihmiskunnan on kuitenkin löydettävä yhteinen tahto ja kyky toteuttaa kestävyysmurros ja edistää demokratiaa ja ihmisoikeuksien toteutumista globaalilla tasolla. Just nu behövs det universitet. Det behövs finländska universitet för att fostra studerande till att tjäna fosterlandet och mänskligheten. Det behövs vetenskap, forskning som tar risker och undervisning på högsta nivå som baserar sig på den. Det behövs glädje i lärandet, en känsla av meningsfullhet för unga studerande och den styrka som gemenskap medför på moderna campus. Universities are facing challenges in Finland and elsewhere. They are expected to perform more efficiently, have more impact, get to the top of the world, be attractive partner for companies and international talent. However, universities in Finland are in a good situation and position. Finland relies on her universities. The state, citizens and companies trust universities. The most concrete proof of this is the new act on the funding of research and development, which is now being implemented. The aim is really to invest 4% of GDP on R&D by 2030. And 1/3 of this investment comes from the state and 2/3 from private companies, industry and business. The objective is ambitious and it is vitally important that we achieve it. The decision on the Funding Act was not easily made. A parliamentary working group had to work in 2 stages, and plenty of research-based information was needed to convince decision makers that the return of investment in R&D expenditure is positive through improved productivity, sustainable growth, and better and higher employment. Rahoituksen jakautumista ei parlamentaarisessa ryhmässä lähdetty linjaamaan yksityiskohtaisesti etukäteen, vaan ryhmä sopi 10 periaatteesta, joilla tarkempi rahoituksen allokaatio tulisi tehdä. Hyvin viisas ja rohkea päätös. Nyt on valmisteltu noiden periaatteiden pohjalta ensimmäinen monivuotinen rahoitussuunnitelma, joka tuo kauan kaivattua ylivaalikautista ennustettavuutta tutkimuksen ja kehitystyön rahoitukseen. Ja totta kai rahoituksen vaikuttavuutta seurataan hyvin tarkasti. Parlamentaarinen ryhmä korosti TKI-järjestelmän kehittämistä tasapainoisena kokonaisuutena. Todettiin, että osaoptimointia ei pidä harrastaa. Samoin hyvin tärkeää on, että ryhmä korosti rahoituksen kilpailullisuutta ja samalla tieteen vapautta ja tutkimuksen ja koulutuksen korkeaa laatua. Siksi 1000 uutta tohtoria, siksi panostukset kaikkia aloja ja toimijoita hyödyttävään infrastruktuuriin, siksi vapaasti kilpailtavaa rahoitusta Suomen Akatemian ja Business Finlandin kautta. The European Union is preparing to decide on the next multi-annual financial framework. Finland has emphasized the importance of investing in human and social capital and security and competitiveness and mobility in the EU's future work. Näissä kaikissa tavoitteissa korostuu EUn 10. puiteohjelman merkitys. Ja sieltä erityisesti ERC, European Research Council ja toisaalta myös European Innovation Council instrumentit. Näillä haetaan kasvua ja haetaan strategista kilpailukykyä. Meidän on vältettävä, vähennettävä haitallista riippuvuutta muiden maiden teknologioista, infrastruktuureista ja osaamisesta. Me puhumme nykyään tieteen ja tutkimuksen turvallisuudesta. Ja olemme joutuneet täällä Suomessakin toteamaan, että kansainvälisessä yhteistyössä kansalliseen turvallisuuteen liittyvät näkökohdat on otettava huomioon. Toteamme siis, että avoin tiede on niin avointa kuin mahdollista ja niin suljettua kuin tarpeellista. Haluan kuitenkin korostaa, että erilaisista turvallisuusnäkökohdista huolimatta yliopistojen kansainvälinen yhteistyö on välttämätöntä. Se lisää laatua, tasaa riskejä ja tuottaa uutta tietoa ja innovaatioita. Ja onhan se inhimillisestä näkökulmasta katsoen usein erittäinkin palkitsevaa. To flourish, Finland needs not only higher level of education for the whole population, high quality R&D and I activities, but also international students, researchers and labor force. We all have a responsibility to ensure that Finland is a good place to live and act for people from different backgrounds. Universities have a great opportunity to foster this kind of new landscape and mindset for the whole country and society of Finland. And I would like to think that this is even an obligation for such a prestigious institution as university. Arvoisat aaltolaiset, bästa Aalto-universitetsgemenskap, dear Aalto community. Toivotan teille kaikille inspiroivaa uutta lukuvuotta ja önskar er alla ett inspirerande nytt läsår. I wish you all inspiring new academic year.
Thank you, Anita, also giving us insights on a national level that otherwise might not be seen. The community is what shapes university. Like Ilkka said before, people choose to come here. And even though Aalto has only 15 years, the history is much larger and bigger. And you can actually experience that in the Museum of Student Culture, where you can experience and see what and how students changed Finland over the last 100 years. Next up, as said before, the community is in the center. And I think there's nobody better to talk about this than the Vice President or the Vice Chair of Aalto University Student Union, Mante Shigelite. Mante will share her thoughts on the upcoming academic year. After that, we'll see a short video about the new art pieces in the new building Marcio. Menu, Mante? Varsågod.
Arvon rehtori, arvon provosti, dear Aalto community. Joyful academic year to the new and returning students. I would like to congratulate all the new students on getting a study spot at Aalto University. Well-deserved congratulations and warm welcome to the Aalto community. Onnittelut ja tervetuloa Aalto-yhteisöön. Grattis och välkommen. and a friendly greeting to all familiar faces returning back to their studies for the academic year 2024 to 2025. It is a special moment to share today's stage with all of you. Back in 2021, I was on the other side of the screen, watching Aalto Day 1 ceremony as a new international master student of School of Arts. Moving from Lithuania to Finland, my emotions in the first weeks range from anxiety to excitement and vice versa. Those days were filled with me trying to attend every possible event to make the most out of it. And the get-togethers gifted me long-lasting friendships and cherished memories. Each student journey is unique, and there are various ways to participate. The vibrant Aalto student community provides many opportunities to engage, whether that be being active in a hobby club, running for a board member position in a guild or association, or getting involved in student politics, to name a few. The student years are full of new experiences, connections, highs and lows, offering much more to life than just studies. I encourage you to step out of your comfort zone, explore the unseen, and connect with new and diverse people in the process. Learning from my own experience as a first-year student a while back, I would advise you to be kind to yourself. There will always be events and opportunities to be part of. You don't have to participate in everything that is out there. Remember to take care of yourself and rest in between. Last year, the university campuses across Finland, including Aalto, witnessed students of different fields and backgrounds come together. The students bravely occupied the university premises and demonstrated for weeks against the social welfare cuts and immigration policies proposed by the Finnish government. The mobilization and unity of students sparked a lot of discussion and support within the university circles and beyond. I was and still am worried about these cuts and their impact on the students and our well-being. As we step into the new year, I appreciate that Aalto University and its leadership are taking once again a strong stance on behalf of the international community for the launch of today's campaign. In retrospect, the student unity across Finland gave me hope. It highlighted the importance of coming and being together in difficult times. As I conclude the speech, I want to return to where I began. It is an honor to stand here on this stage. 3 years after joining the Aalto community, I'm grateful, yet still somewhat in disbelief, to stand on the other side of the screen, greeting you all on behalf of the Aalto University Student Union. In these turbulent times, I wish all of us students peace to study. Toivon meille opiskelurauhaa ja önskar oss studiefred. Kiitos, tack, thank you, ačiū. Thank you.
We share imaginations, and our brains synchronize with others when they share the same experiences. We might think that imagination is only for the young, but sharing imagination is essential for all ages. The purpose of public art in Marsio building is to embrace the connection between science and art, to create imaginative surroundings for study and work, and simply to make you wonder. You might ask, how does art affect the way of your thinking? Does it make you happy? Does it make you cry? Or are you irritated? Does art inspire any memories? Why? How? There is a unique possibility to use these questions in your own work, whether it's making art, making movies, solving technical problems, or questions about management.
I'd like to invite on stage Professor Tapani Vuorinen. I have a great pleasure to announce that I have appointed Professor Tapani Vuorinen from the Department of Bioproducts and Biosystems at the School of Chemical Engineering to the prestigious position of Aalto Distinguished Professor in recognition of his significant scientific contributions and societal impact. Tapani Vuorinen has served as professor in forest product chemistry here in Otaniemi since 1998. Professor Vuorinen is an internationally recognized scientist in forest product chemistry. His scholarly contributions include, for example, over 200 peer-reviewed papers in scientific journals, 20 patents or patent applications, and over 30 supervised doctoral theses. He has also made considerable contributions to international sustainability initiatives. His research in cellulose chemistry has led to significant advances in addressing industrial challenges. For the groundbreaking invention of optimizing cellulose bleaching process, he was honored with the Marcus Wallenberg Prize together with colleagues from VTT. His research has resulted in practical advances that have been adopted globally in the pulp and paper industry. At Aalto, Professor Vuorinen is widely appreciated for his decisive role in launching the multidisciplinary ChemArts and design-driven world of cellulose programs spanning across the university. Professor Vuorinen, my warmest congratulations on your appointment as Aalto Distinguished Professor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ilkka, for these nice words. I'm very honored receiving this award, yet I know that there are so many others here who are equally worthy. Nature has always been in the center of my life. I grew up on a small farm in a small village. As a child, I spent time in forests and fields, observing birds and documenting their migration, watching animals and exploring plants, even the smallest ones, so perfect in the waterline. Even now, I love to listen to the sound of wind in the forest. It always makes me feel safe. This nature connection is why I ended up studying forest and trees. Now I'm a chemist and I'm interested in the structure of wood on molecular level, how the molecules organize to form tiny cells and the complex structure of a whole plant with its living functions. Today I'm very excited about the chemical nanoimaging approach that we apply to get direct experimental evidence on the organization of cell wall polymers in wood. I have a vision that the research will change our understanding on how water is transported in trees and also lead to discovery of more sustainable ways of converting biomass into materials and chemicals that we need. I started my studies in Otaniemi almost 5 decades ago. Back then I was quiet and shy. But I realized from my first lecture that I was in the right place. And here I want to add that I selected not to be quiet here. I was keen to question, and this eagerness for knowledge was always supported. There was one professor in particular. I used to go up to him at the end of class and point out the errors in the molecular structures and reactions in his textbook. To his credit, he was never angry to me. What I remember is a feeling of being respected regardless of my young age. It raised my self-confidence and supported my passion for knowledge. Now, as a professor myself, I see the humility that it requires to be corrected late in your esteemed career by a 20-year-old. Now, when a young student questions my approach, it brings me happiness. It means that they are meeting me on the same level of understanding. I was only 22 when I was appointed a full-time teaching assistant, several years younger than my counterparts. I continued my own research alongside the teaching. I was driven by excitement. I worked long into the nights and finally had 10 articles published in 4 years. Yet I felt dissatisfied with the quality of my work. I continued to go deeper than what I had learned from my teachers or read from literature. I spent months in laboratory and in a library searching for supporting evidence to my new hypothesis. In the end, I was satisfied and very excited to defend my work, which I published as a monograph, a book without the articles. Among other things, I had proved that the fundamental paper in the field was based on completely wrong interpretation of the data. I greatly admire that the author of that very same paper accepted to oppose me in the public defense. This still touches me to this date. Passion is needed in science, but so is humility. You can and you will make mistakes, and you need to accept it. In the late 70s, I spent 3 summers in pulp and paper mills as part of my studies, the last one in the research laboratory. Even this short industrial experience gave me understanding and respect for the people who have a different role in the knowledge cluster I represent. One might assume that applied research is scientifically inferior, but I think this is a trap. The world needs solutions, and only with an open mind can we hope to find them. My curiosity has always led me towards the unknown. Soon after Aalto University was formed, I met with designer Pirjo Kääriäinen, who is sitting somewhere here. We decided to begin collaboration with few students from both fields without knowing what the outcome would be. Now, the interdisciplinary ChemArts activity is known internationally, at least among design students and professionals. Our collaboration with Pirjo has had a great impact on my thinking. I had to learn a new language to be understood and to understand. I haven't become a design expert, but I can discuss with them. Once interviewing for arts tenure-track candidates, I started to asking them, and there was a reason, what's your understanding of design? To the surprise and delight of my design colleagues. One instrument and one approach will give one picture of a complex system. A different instrument approach may give a totally different insight. Thus, a fuller, more satisfying understanding is reached only when you explore and look at something from many different angles. Scientific research of a certain field is just one aspect of a whole. Today, we live in the middle of grand global challenges. Everyone understands that we need to mitigate climate change, stop polluting the world with plastics, protect the biodiversity of nature, and change our attitudes towards consumption in general. The question is, how could we contribute to solving these problems with our work? The approaches between disciplines are complementary, and we should collaborate to have a bigger impact. When I was a child, large ice cubes sawn from a frozen sea were stored in sawdust for summertime to keep milk fresh. My understanding on uses of wood has broadened ever since, and also I have contributed to their development during several decades. The materials that we use and need change with time. After being a faculty member for 45 years, I'm approaching the end of my academic career. Soon I will hand the baton to my own students and younger colleagues to continue the run. I'm grateful for everything this society and university has given to me. My parents' experience of wartime bought a piece of land for that and grew a family of 6 children with hard work. They saw the potential in me and sent me to high school. I have learned to value everyone equally based on their work, not their origin, their age, or their place of birth. We need everyone to build this society. I'm thankful and honored to be appointed as a distinguished professor. I haven't done the work alone. I need to share the recognition among the hundreds of people with whom I have had the privilege of collaborating. Thank you all.
Thank you, Heikki. The musical performance was Rytmikoneiden lyö. Also, a very big thank you, Tapani, for your inspiring Aalto talk.
Kiitos Ilkka, Tak, Tapani, Anita, and Heikki, and Aatu Mante. And thank you to everyone in front and behind the scenes who made Aalto Day 1 possible. Together, we truly are standing stronger and can make a difference.
Avajaisseremonia on nyt tulossa päätökseensä, mutta juhlamme jatkuvat sekä livenä että verkossa. Siirrymme yhdessä tämän tilaisuuden jälkeen Marsioon, jossa jaetaan Aalto-palkinnot yhteisöllemme. Paitsi te, hyvät riemualumnit. Teidän ohjelma jatkuu täällä U2-salissa, joten jäättehän istumaan paikoillenne. Lisäksi jokainen teistä on myös tervetullut 3:30 alkavaan Aalto-partiin, eli ulkoilmajuhliimme täällä Otaniemessä.
We'll continue the Aalto Awards ceremony both online and on-site. But there will be a short break in between as we will move over to Marsio, the new building, so stay tuned for the Aalto Awards. But before we end now this ceremony here in U2 Hall, and we'll hand over the mic to our co-host Tero in Marsio for the awards, it's time to finally officially open the new academic year. Ilkka, Mante, the honor and the stage is all yours.
Ihanaa aloittaa taas lukuvuosi ja nähdä kaikkia aaltolaisia.
Todellakin, Mante, tosi hieno. Aivan upeata porukkaa täällä ja isot kiitokset myöskin ylioppilaskunnalle, kun pidätte meidän kampuksen ja opiskelijakulttuurin vahvana.
Thank you, Ilkka. And now, do you think it would be a good time to open the new academic year?
Definitely. Definitely. My dear Aaltonians, I have the great pleasure to declare the new academic year open. Yeah. Hyvää uutta lukuvuotta. Hyvää uutta lukuvuotta kaikille. Jag önskar er alla en riktigt gott nytt läsår. Thank you.
Thank you.